That's Dre's tutoring? Hey guys, welcome to another video, and I'm so excited that we are talking about my favorite topic, proteins. This is a part of the series of biological macromolecules. I have plenty of videos talking about proteins already, and I'll try not to make this video go over 10 minutes.
Cap.
Let's see if I can do it, because I love protein so much and I think that's my favorite topic. This is something that I love talking about and teaching to other people. So I'll try my best to keep it simple. For the more in-depth video, of course, check out the other videos. Without further ado, let's see if I could hold myself together. So proteins. Proteins are these macromolecules. We can compare them to nucleic acids, lipids, and carbohydrates. Just like those other macromolecules, proteins are made up of subunits. So what exactly are proteins? Again, proteins are macromolecules. They account for more than 50% of the dry mass of most cells. This is important because we know that proteins are used for transport, structure, speeding up the rates of reactions. And really, they are very ubiquitous. They're all over the cell and are very important for cellular function and biochemical reactions. And again, I kind of beat the bullet points. Of course, they act as enzymes to speed up reactions, and they're used for structural support, which we will see later. Storage, transport, cellular communication, my favorite. Me personally, I always talk about how communication is important, and in cells they have proteins that do this. And then of course defense, right? Or even tagging things that are not supposed to be there or not working properly. I have a video talking about it. It's called ubiquitin, where it tags faulty proteins. So proteins, of course, are very important. Now let's talk about what they're made up of. They are made up of subunits called amino acids. And if we scroll over to our bottom, we could see the different amino acids. We have so many, and I'm not going to name all of them. Histidine, lysine, cytosine, glycine, proline, tyrosine, and so on and so forth. There are 20 naturally occurring amino acids. And what happens with these amino acids is they can link together and they form something called a polypeptide here. For another video talking about polypeptides and the synthesis of these polypeptides, there is a video for that as well. And I'll also have a video going over how to memorize these amino acids, because you guys will see it on exams and tests. But for the sake of this video, let's just think that proteins are long polypeptides, and these polypeptides are made up of individual subunits called amino acids. And these amino acids are these 20 that are naturally occurring. Okay, so now let's talk about the formation of these polypeptides. So again, I said that this full chart here are all the different amino acids, and what can happen is they can connect, they can bond covalently to form a polypeptide. So here's kind of an idea of what an amino acid would look like, where we have a carboxylic acid. Cool, yeah, you guys are good. And then our amino group with NH2, and we can always tell that we have an amino group by the nitrogen and the two hydrogens, amino, and then our COO, where we have COOH, kind of like ACU, our carboxylic acid. So this is important because these are the two functional groups that will be involved in the reaction, or the covalent bond between amino acids. So if we go over, we can see we have two amino acids here that will bond together to form a peptide bond. And this can continue on and on and on and on into having several amino acids attached. Okay, so how does it bond? As you guys see here, and let me just erase this so we have some room so you guys can see where it's attached via the hydrogen and then the OH group at the end of the amino acid. And this is called a condensation reaction. So condensation reaction. And of course, you guys know we use shorthand RXN because we're lazy around here. A lot of chemists and biochemists are a bit lazy sometimes. Or it can also be called a dehydration reaction. The reason it's called a dehydration reaction is simply because we have a loss of water, as you guys see here. To form that peptide bond, we lose water. So we have the hydrogen and the hydroxyl group that come together and bond covalently to form a peptide bond, thus releasing a water. And in reverse, we can actually break bonds as well through hydrolysis, which is the addition of water. Okay, so now what we have is a polypeptide. So if we look at glycine, isoleucine, valine, cysteine, and so on and so forth, all of these underwent peptide bond formation through a condensation or dehydration reaction to form this long polypeptide chain. And just to jump ahead here, we have a disulfide bridge or side chain interactions. Side chain interactions can happen between amino acids with their sulfur group, more specifically for cysteine or hydrogen bonding. And what happens is, as you guys see, this is kind of folding, right? And this is my favorite part and the coolest part about proteins. And I'm just trying to not jump out of my chair. They can fold, guys. They can fold because of their side chain interactions with one another and fold into functional proteins that can be used within the body. Okay, so as you guys see, I have an arrow here that says eventually forms macromolecules. An example, enzymes. So let's take a look here. We have a primary structure. There are different structures for proteins. We have a primary structure, which are just the amino acid residues, right? And we have something called a helix or alpha helices, plural. And then we have a tertiary structure. And this is kind of the folding that I'm talking about, where eventually these amino acids will collapse amongst each other because of like side chain reactions, and they just, kind of fold up. And then we have my favorite, where we have usually like a functional protein, a large macromolecule in a quaternary structure, where we can have different subunits that are responsible for different things around the body or for human life. And an example of this would be hemoglobin, which is a carrier for oxygen, or collagen, which gives strength. It gives long fibers great strength. So this is tissues, tendons, and ligaments. There are so many other proteins. Another one that I talk about is ubiquitin, which tags faulty proteins in a cell. These proteins have to be folded in a certain way. They have to have a certain sequence. If they are not having that fashion or that sequence, ubiquitin comes in and tags it, and it can get degraded by a proteasome, which too, guess what, is a protein. So proteins are very essential to human life. They are important in biochemical reactions. They are important in structure, cell signaling, and transport. So that was just a brief overview of proteins, and I think I did it in under 10 minutes. If not, I owe you guys. Next, we'll be talking about nucleic acids at some point and continuing on talking about our gas properties, okay? So if this video was helpful for a brief overview of what proteins are, please let me know. Recommend any videos you guys would like to learn about, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.